Hey, let's have a quick look at downloading and printing calendars. There are three different options. We're going to run through them one at a time, starting with the default print ready PDF. And this gives you an exact copy of what you see on the screen here. It will convert that into a file and then you can print that. Now, this is the simplest style of calendar you can print. Once you have this, you would have to handwrite into it yourself, or maybe you would blow it up on a very large paper size and you could turn that into an activity of some sort. But most people are going to use content streams, whether that is text that you want to type in here yourself, activities that you've saved to your calendar, or in this case, I'm just going to turn on the events and ideas and show you what that does here. And once that is printed, it is going to include them in our calendar itself. Very cool. Let's have a look at the next one. So the editable PDF is a basic calendar, but with fillable text areas. And this is interesting. It gives you some new options. So now you can actually type directly into here, but it's also included what we typed earlier, as well as the events and ideas that we included. Something that a lot of people use is actually this version, but with nothing in it. Because what this lets you do now is create a simple file that you can fill in. This is also great if you want to work offline or if you want to draft lots of calendars with micro adjustments for different clients or facilities. This is a great option here. The only difference here is anything you've now typed into here and saved in this file is now part of that file. It's not part of the Golden Carers site anymore. If you want it to be, you would just turn on My Text and type it in here, and then when you download it, that will be included. So you can keep this as your source of truth for your content. The last one is the Word document, but it is not the least. It is fully customizable in Microsoft Word, and if you use Word, you will like this one a lot because we give you things like the empty start and end cells you can type into, of course, top left, top right, bottom left. You can add your own text areas, fonts, colors, anything you can imagine in Word you can do. So that's a great option. Something to note is when we select that, it'll default you to the one-page option here because most people using this option want a one-page calendar. And if you don't select that, it'll start overflowing onto multiple pages. But if you have a lot of content, a lot of activities, let's say your activities span, 2 cells, then you're actually going to want to choose the multi-page. And that applies to a couple of these other options as well, because then it allows the calendar to overflow as much as it needs to make sure you get all of that content. And then you just print off multiple pages and stick them together or use them however you need. Something interesting to note here is we can turn off the background on the Word version. And of course, we can include any content that we have. And then we can download that. And because we have removed the background, that will create a slightly different design that's super simple. And now I've included the content streams as well, just so you can see how that works. The last thing I wanted to show you is the font size. And once again, this applies to all of the calendars, but I won't show every single example. I'll just show you a couple that are useful. If we turn off this text here, and I actually want to change this to a Monday 1st calendar, because what Monday 1st does in this case is it gives us 6 cells that are empty, and then 6 cells that are empty at the start, and it creates a very big calendar. And what that can do, if we go to the print ready one and print it, is it's likely going to break onto multiple pages, like we see there, right? It won't cut text off, but it will sort of, fold that over to the next page as best it can. What you can do is a couple things. You could turn on one page, and that will actually set the predefined height, and it should keep it all on one page. I haven't tested this for the video. I probably should have, but yeah. So that's now made sure it all fits on one page, but it's actually cut off some of the text, which generally you're not going to want. So I'm going to put it back on multi-page, and now instead I'm going to change the font size. I'm going to bump that down. Maybe 90 is enough for this case. So now, even though we have the same amount of content, the font is a little bit smaller, so it'll fit everything that you can see it. So Sometimes if you have a lot of content, depending on what option you're using, depending on what paper size you're using, and maybe you're using portrait mode with I don't know, a large paper size, and you've got weekends turned off, you can get very creative here, and now we can create an editable PDF out of that. And the font size will reflect in all of these options. So I've just downloaded this one just to show you, and that's my font size. But if we now bump this back up, let's say we're using this portrait on a very large paper size, maybe we want, I don't know, 150. And let's have a look at what that looks like. And now we have a much better experience, and you can get very specific on what you want your calendar to look like. In a couple minutes, you can play around with the configurations, figure out what works for you, and almost all of these configurations save to your account, so you don't have to reconfigure them in the future. But like anything, that's all I'm going to touch on for now. If you have any questions, please get in touch with us. We read all of those, and thank you very much.